We're going to start off with the first 10, which are going to be 10 tips for your objective assessments. Number one, you always want to check out a Reddit about the course. So if I'm doing C233, I will go into Google, I will type in C233 WGU Reddit, and it will pull up a couple different ones from different people that have already done the class or from Reddit posts that people have about questions for that class. And I'll just kind of read through those, see what valuable information they can give to me, and then I'll also read the comments and see what I can get from that. Lots of good information just to get you in the mindset about the course and give you some tips so you don't make the same mistakes as some other people before you. You can do the same thing with YouTube videos, just like the one you're watching now. Going on to number two, I would watch all cohorts for the class. If you go onto the right side of your homepage for your class, there will be usually announcements or tips. You pull up a link and it'll give you multiple videos for that course tailored to specific chapters from the course and all of that. And then it'll also give you tips for the actual objective assessment, or really just give you the main sections you want to focus on and the weightings and all that. After I watch all those cohorts, also bonus tip, I like to watch them on 2x speed. Usually with those classes, the instructor taught slow enough that 2x speed almost sounds normal, or you can bump it down to maybe 1.5. That just saves you time. If it's an hour cohort, you get done in 30 minutes. That's free time for you to get another cohort done today instead of tomorrow. Then you want to take the practical exam or a practical assessment, so the practice test. You want to take that as soon as you get your cohorts, or even before that. You want to take it as soon as possible, because this is going to be your guide to knowing what to actually study and what you don't know that is going to be needed to know for the test. So after you take that PA, use the missed questions from the PA to learn, and also involve quizlets. I don't use quizlets too much for WG personally, but I know a lot of people on Reddit and general have just said they've helped them a lot. Find you a good quizlet, but go through every single question of the PA after you take it. And if you pass your PA, you're most likely going to pass the OA. Just study the things you missed and just take the time to understand why you missed it and why the answer that is right and the other ones are wrong. Once you get that understanding, you're probably 9 times out of 10 ready for that OA. So now that you study what you needed to, you want to have a study session right before the test, or at least I do personally. So after you click book, you've got that proctor exam coming up 15, 30 minutes from now, you want to start cramming. Just go through the PA again, see what you missed, see why you missed it, understand it, have notes written down. I have just paper notebook. I write down all kinds of stuff for all kinds of classes. Can't see it because it's blurry. But I have all these notes about the most important things, or I write down exactly what I missed, because when you write stuff down, it helps you retain it more anyways. So I'll go through everything I missed, cram a little bit before that test. You also want to have your equipment ready for the test. You want to be set up and everything to make that proctored exam a smooth process. You want to have your camera ready. You want to have your whiteboard ready if you have one. So right there. You want to have a calculator ready if you need one for the test. And then I have all of these things down in the description if you need to pick one up if you're curious to what I use. But you want to have all of that already for your test. And then right before the test starts, or right the moment that test starts, the moment they tell you you're good to go, start writing out anything important you can remember. Whether it's an acronym for a long thing you need to remember that you remember at the beginning of the test, formula, just some keywords, or just anything that you could forget that you already remember that you just cram before the test. Write it down immediately, as much stuff as you can that might help you before you start answering questions. That way you'll have all that information later on. That's a huge tip for taking those OAs. Then when you're going through those questions, you want to use process of elimination. Most of the times it will make sense if you understand the question which one the answer is, just kind of by eliminating stuff. most of the time they're not trying to trick you. Some classes can be a little bit more tougher on that than others, but usually you really understand the material, there's one answer that really makes sense. You just gotta take the time to really think about what actually makes sense. So eliminate questions, especially when you get to ones that are tough. Eliminate the answers. Go with the one that makes most sense. That'll help you get answers more in the long run, right? And then at the very end of the test, right before you turn it in, especially if you've been flagging questions. I love the flag questions that I'm not sure about, or that just I'm pretty sure I got wrong. I flag those, and right before I turn that test in, I go back to the beginning, kind of go through everything again, especially ones I flagged, just kind of double check, be like, am I okay with this answer? Most of the time, I don't change things. Sometimes I would change a couple answers right before I turn it in. Because sometimes when you're going through the test, like question 2, I may have no idea what the answer is, but when I get to question 20, it will be a similar question that I know the right answer to, that gives me information that gives me the right answer to question 2. So sometimes you need to go back towards the end. That's 10 tips for taking objective assessments at WGU. Good luck with your next test.